name is Ramona Prasad, and I'm a documentary filmmaker and writer. Featured with me today is Justin Holbrook. And Justin is one of the teachers that was featured in the documentary Gray Matters. Now, at the time we filmed, Justin was teaching 4th grade STEM at Roland Park Elementary in Baltimore. In 2017, he was awarded Teacher of the Year for Baltimore City Public Schools. And 2019, Justin, you went over to Lakeland?
Yeah, halfway through the year.
And so Justin is now assistant principal at Lakeland Elementary. Justin, this has been an interesting time to be teaching. So tell us a little bit about how your school has transitioned to what I'm calling pandemic schooling, but really how have you transitioned to distance learning without any real prep?
Sure. I mean, I think the first thing we need to think about and thank is our teachers here. Our teachers have really grinded and put in the work to connect with kids and really value relationships. Luckily, since we already started the previous school year in person, they had relationships built. And also we're able to navigate some tech platforms and get kids signed up and understand Google Classroom and things like that in person, which was a benefit of trying to quickly flip into emergency teaching. But I think what we were very clear about is just creating flexible space and flexible time for kids to complete assignments and join when they needed to. Obviously there's expectations and such that we need to raise as we approach the fall. But at our school, we had over an 80% connection rate with getting work completed and kids connected, which is a huge success. But that goes to teachers, not me.
Now, how did teachers handle it in situations where there is potentially spotty internet access or device access? How did you guys handle that stuff?
So we did a few things. At Lakeland Elementary Middle School, we are a community school, so we have a lot of strong partnerships. We partnered with a project called Project Waves. They've actually installed a Wi-Fi hotspot on our roof above me right now that is giving 25 families free internet access within the neighborhood. We also did some work with the district in Baltimore to pass out devices and hosted 3 kind of like drive-in movie theater drop-ins to get your device and go. And they're keeping those devices. So as they transition into the fall, we will have the majority of our kids with devices. We have a big push that this month, as now it's August, trying to get as close to 1-to-1 as possible. But I think we passed out around 350 devices during the spring, which was a great way to get access. Obviously, you can have a computer and not have internet access. So we're still trying to leverage partners and push legislature around getting free internet access. I think it's a huge equity issue when we think about public schools and cities, even rural cities as well. Internet should be free, but that's just my side comment.
Now, when you and I first started working together, and we were, of course, talking brain-targeted teaching and, of course, using the model in the classroom, and now you are principal and you've had a number of years using the model. What kinds of things or tips, have you, suggested to teachers to kind of increase engagement, et cetera? What do you think?
I think that one of the first 2 targets is super important. It's just the emotional climate of the classroom and building relationships. We've done things at Lakeland, such as doing Friday celebrations for work assignments. So if a grade level does sets a goal and meets that goal, they do a silly activity on Friday. Another thing that a lot of teachers are using is using the first 2 or 3 minutes of class to do an SEL check-in, just a, hey, how you doing? Or a guided prompt connected to the content, but just giving kids the space to share and open up. And then I would also say the third thing with SEL is we had a goal to get 2 touch points from the district for every student. And if we weren't getting academic touch points, we were getting relationship touch points. So calls, text, Instagram stalking, you name it, just to make sure kids were okay and felt like they had a trusted adult to speak to. I think when you think of the other targets, which are the more academic, virtual learning lends itself to project-based learning. So whether that's assessment with portfolios or Google Classroom, for example, keeps work in in a portfolio-like system. So it really provides a good snapshot for kids to look at their own data and develop their own self-efficacy that way around their learning. But you can really drive standards-driven, big picture concept, big guiding question work virtually when you don't have as much time to quote unquote lecture or model. It's more of a self-investigation, which I think lends itself to BTT.
Okay. And now one sort of extra question, which is how are you advocating for teachers to take care of themselves? I mean, a lot of the teacher groups I'm part of, there's a lot of burnouts, a lot of overwhelm. It's just, you know, oh my goodness, how do we do this with our own kids at home as well? You know, a lot of us have smaller kids. So what are you telling teachers?
I mean, I have a 15-month-old as well. My wife's a teacher, so like the struggle is real. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's difficult, but it's the right work too. So you have to find the balance between serving kids and their families as well as serving yourself. We were very intentional, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from teachers as we approach the fall around limiting and just being more explicit with meeting times and meetings for the right reasons and just keeping them short and quick. And providing more space to get work done or planning time on your own time. I mean, as long as the planning's done and the instruction is at a high level, there's no reason to require a teacher to attend a specific meeting time if there's no goal or agenda or things like that. So we're just trying to be as efficient as possible. But I also think it also comes from a leadership perspective of serving your staff and asking them where they're at and having those SEL check-ins with staff. We were very intentional around tracking. So we actually had a Google sheet that tracked when each leadership team member connected with a staff member to make sure we didn't skip anybody. I urge teachers to do the same thing with students, is to track and be very intentional around, I checked in with this student today and I'm going to check in with them the following Tuesday. Because if you don't track it, you're going to miss kids or it's not going to be as intentional in front of your mind. So we've been really intentional around making sure that every teacher gets a check-in once a week. Just to say like, hey, how you doing? Everything okay? Do you need anything? Can I support you with anything? Do you just want to talk? Do you need a break from something? Anything, just to make sure they feel like they're a real person. And then to develop that relationship too with them.
All right. All right, Justin, thank you very much.